But yeah, we're talking spoilers for Little Women. Getting into it, the talk of short girl session. And just like we mentioned, it was all a dream. I used to read words and no. But we're talking Little Women. Full spoilers. I think we should go to the end first. Lindsay already sort of hinted at that a little bit because I feel like that changes the whole context of the movie in a really interesting way. Um, but I don't know if anybody else wants to go on touch on that before my thoughts.
Yeah, because I loved the like kind of meta ending.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Because in all the other adaptations, apparently I haven't seen them, but I've read about them after I saw this movie, and she just straight up marries that professor. So I liked that in this one, it really showed that she only did that because she had to. Because
Well,
when Louisa May Alcott was writing Little Women, they wouldn't let her publish the second half unless she had Joe married by the end, and she didn't want to marry her off to Laurie because she was like, I wrote this whole book about why she shouldn't. So she was like, whatever, I'll just invent this like professor, and then she'll just marry him. So I love that the movie was like, we're not just gonna do that straight because that's stupid now. So it really showed that like, yeah, like with I don't know, it was so like meta because it's like Joe had to do that for her book, but it like also had to happen for like the actual Little Women. Yeah,
well,
so
I almost wonder if that professor is real, to a certain extent, if that makes sense, or if they actually like end up together, because it's
Real?
so. Yeah, the only reason I say that is because it feels so storybook ending.
Oh.
Of like how showy it is, how she's running in the rain, getting him back, and he's of course walking in the rain with his little umbrella, and he didn't get the girl, and he has no Little Women to his name. And then she
well, yeah,
chases
that's what I
after him.
mean. Like, I think that she purposely made it like ambiguous. Like, yeah, this
Yeah,
technically does happen, but it's not real. It's only there because she had to make it like that. So that's why it's so like written. You know what I mean?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I definitely love the choice that they ended up going with for that. I just was throwing out my interpretation of it is that she doesn't actually go back. So when she's talking to him, like when they're actually having that book like review session, she's like, "I whatever." She can end up with him, and she's sort of like almost rewriting her own life, if that makes sense. And it's not because I think I don't know the one thing that I love about this movie so much is it's so much of like a win in being like, hey, be yourself, be true to who you are, and then good things will come of that. So I I just felt like that ending was such like a hitting the hammer on the nail of being like, oh hey, this is what's important about this movie. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, other spoiler things, Turtle.
Um, I th- so I know I complained about the jump cuts, or the time jumps rather, but I do think it is ingenious of Greta Gerwig as an adaptation choice because it not only does it kind of juxtapose so many themes within their lives that have like come from their childhood that you can see so much clearer. You also get rid of the problem of um for the last like 100 200 years people have wanted Joe and Laurie to get together, and I completely get it. I completely get it. Like all the other adaptations, reading the books, I've been like, yeah, like I know Joe doesn't want to marry, and like I completely understand her, but my brain is like, wow, the chemistry. And it's starting with Laurie getting rejected at the beginning of the film completely solves that, because I think it doesn't build the anticipation like every other adaptation has. And like even the has anyone seen the 1994 version?
No,
No,
I
uh,
haven't seen any of them.
Mm-mm.
I'm
uh,
very
I
sorry.
need to.
This is where you go off, sis.
no, I just think Chris Bale and Winona Ryder, um, they made a really great Joe and Laurie, And it was once again one of those times where I was like, oh, I know where this is going, kind of. And it's not gonna go well, but I still want them together, despite the fact that Joe doesn't want to get married. And Laurie, really, like, from my interpretation, I don't think he really wants to marry her. I think he just wants family, which is
For
what
sure.
the
Yeah.
Marshes provide. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that was almost the weird thing about like what Laurie's doing because he clearly like you're right. He just wants to be part of the Marsh family. But I do think I don't know. There's something interesting that they play with in the flashbacks where every time we visit Joe and Laurie sort of getting to know each other, it's a weird dynamic because back in this time in Laurie's like history, he's not probably seeing too many women too often, if that makes sense. Like he might be going to like some of those balls or whatever, but like all of those girls that we saw there were like, "Ew, I'm prim and proper, and I'm taking myself up so I could be married to a wealthy man." And then you meet someone like Joe, and it's just like, "Oh, hey, I'm here having a fun time. Like I love this." So I think it's difficult for him because he's like, okay, well, I clearly like love this person, and he like, I think he even realizes, like you're saying, they're not necessarily made for each other. But he's like, but you make me happy, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, but no, she makes you happy like friends. In the movie, I don't know, I feel like it really does that quite well.
Yeah, I think so too. 'Cause I think that they did have really good chemistry, but their chemistry felt like a bro like friendship,
For sure.
Yeah.
where they're like punching each other and like yeah, like it didn't feel like romantic love, like destined to be. So
Lusting
I
over each other, like Wonder
yeah, so
Woman
I
in,
thought
in
that they did
Portrait.
that. Yeah, so I thought it was really really good because you never feel like oh she should have ended up with Laurie because she
Would
shouldn't have.
would you
No.
say Portrait is like two bros just hanging out?
They're
Oh
just
yeah,
gal
for sure.
pals.
They're not
Yeah.
even gay.
They're just gal pals.
They're just good friends.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say this as a little spoiler alert, even though it's for sure not a spoil. Lewis Garrel in this movie, he plays the professor.
Mhm.
That man's fine.
Yeah. I saw this interview with Greta Gerwig, and she said that she casted him because she was like, men have been taking hot women and putting glasses on them for years and just calling them geeks. So I feel like I should be able to do
Oh
the
my
same.
god.
And I was like, you're valid,
She's an
Greta.
icon.
You're so valid.
Also, another person in this film, Bob Odenkirk, just shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, "I'm
Oh
from the Marsh." I was like, "What? What?"
yeah. What is Saul?
Which is cool. I liked his mustache. Very good mustache.
Was he
Um,
in any of the press? Or
no,
was
no, he
it
wasn't.
just
They kept him
that,
hidden.
that was the big plot twist.
A hidden
The
woman,
the
some would
plot
say.
twist is that Bob Odenkirk is in this movie.
Also, I was really surprised that I walked away from this being more of a fan because I thought all the sisters besides Beth got about the same screen time. But I
Mhm.
really loved Beth's character. I really loved how much the piano like meant to her, how much it meant like sort of for her own expression.
Yeah.
And that's clearly a thing that's like a luxury. And I actually really, really loved how they handled the Mr. Lawrence in Beth's scenes where like
Yeah.
Mhm.
he's missing it's his daughter, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, where he's missing his daughter, and like this is the first time ever where it's like, oh hey, you get something that somewhat reminds you of that same like joy. And Chris Cooper
Yeah.
plays it like tremendously. Um, he's a really great actor when he wants to be. Uh,
When he wants to be.
when he wants to be on his own time. Again, Greta Gerwig just pulls great
Mm.
performances. But the only thing I was going to mention, I actually thought I'm not like it wasn't bad by any means, and it wasn't like it. It was good. It was a good story, but I honestly found the Emma Watson storyline to be a little boring. I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, you married the poor smart guy, but I want to go back to Joe,
That's
baby.
fair. I didn't think that Meg
Yeah.
was as interesting as the rest of them.
Yeah.
She was just so straightforward.
I
I
thought it was
enjoyed
a good
her. Oh,
contrast from like Joe and Amy
Yeah, I liked
in
that she was
terms of
like, just because my
marriage.
dreams are different than yours doesn't mean they're less important. But
Okay,
also,
yeah.
her story
Yeah.
was very boring.
Valid.
Yeah.
But she does struggle, right? Because
Yeah.
she wants
Yeah.
she has this conflict of she wants to do the practical thing, she wants to do the romantic thing, but also she has this innate jealousy of like only a poor kid could have, which is like
Mhm.
I gotta have the finest things because everyone else will like make fun of me. And I quite enjoyed the fact that that went on to adulthood, which is quite realistic. I mean
Yeah.
that is the only conflict she gets, but like good for her.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like they do the one note really well, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like I think they don't spend too much on it. So again, it's not a con.
Mhm.
It's just one thing that I was going to throw out. I actually really loved. I'm not gonna lie. So when Lori and Joe are hanging out, it's like, oh hey, these are two bros hanging out, having fun. As Lindsay mentioned, just two mates having a little shrimp on the Barbie, if you know what I'm saying. But when
Oh my god.
he goes to Europe, sad Lori, oh, he stole my heart a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like the longing he does, the sad boy vibe that he provides.
Yeah, Timmy can do a good sad boy.
He can do it so well. It's unmatched. So I really liked seeing that because I was like, oh yeah, no, Chalamet is a good actor. Like even though sometimes he like dabs on stage and he's like, haha, I'm crazy. It's like what?
Oh my god.
I think that's the best description of it.
Haha, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Theo, you haven't mentioned anything. Are there any things you want to throw out? Because I don't know if we want to talk about this for spoilers. But the whole like comparing it to Lady Bird because it's Greta's sophomore debut. I guess you can throw out some thoughts on that, or just general spoiler thoughts.
I was saying like it's actually interesting because this is also my first time watching Little Women. So now that I know, or now that I've seen this, with the way that it goes between time, I actually feel like I feel like it'd be difficult to watch one that doesn't do it, because I did think that
for sure.
I think that like definitely helped this a lot. I actually would agree that with Hey, in that I don't think it's like inaccessible because, I mean, obviously it's not meant to be. I mean, in this is art house Little Woman, but I think it took me a little bit of time to understand what was going on, especially because, and this is kind of like I just don't know the source material at all. When you said they were supposed to be 13, I was like, oh, I thought this was like a jump from 16 to 18. But
No.
No.
That's the biggest thing that I was like.
Did you
Okay,
not
wait.
see the 7 years earlier time?
No, but the thing is,
stamp?
you
okay,
have
fair.
No, I'm genuinely wondering, like, did you miss it or like?
No, but the thing with that is it never says, "Hey, I'm Amy. I am 13." You have to take the, "Oh, you've done a lot."
Why
for a
would they
20-year-old.
Why
know?
would you tell you that?
Like,
Yeah,
hi.
I only
That's
knew
all
she
I'm
was
saying.
13 because she
I
says
just
she's
was
20
saying
later.
something.
Well, so I think I just
She says
assumed.
that she's 20, and it also says 7 years earlier. So I feel like that she probably just figured that you could do math.
That's
I'm
on
just
you,
saying,
Theo.
I'm just saying, y'all always mention how you don't like math, and you just seem to love it now when Greta's teaching you math.
I think that like, well, I was just gonna say that like I think that I was able to like be like, oh, okay, I actually understand what's going on now. I think that like I think it is valid what you're saying because my mom and my sister went to see it and both of them liked it. I think they both said, oh, we were confused by the time thing.
I'm telling you, I'm not saying, I'm not out here being like, hey, normies, why are you watching this movie or anything like that. I just mean when someone doesn't notice like technique things, like small technique things in film where it's just basically a hue change going back and forth, it can be semi overwhelming. But the one thing I was going to throw out that does help the movie midway through, and Margot mentioned this, to me just on a separate thing. It might have been on the 2019 review episode. I don't know. So if we're repeating ourselves, sorry. But she's like, guys, I had to cut my hair for y'all. I had to cut my hair, and everybody's like, Joe, you really didn't have to do that. And she's like, no, guys, I cut my hair. Like I needed to do this. I'm not a lesbian, I promise. Like I cut my hair.
Oh no, I had to.
Yeah.
Guys, isn't it crazy that you made me cut my hair?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I cut my hair because we're poor, not because I like little women. I thought that actually ended up helping contextualize, because it's like, oh, Saoirse has shorter hair. So from that point, I never got my mom leaning over and being like, which story are they telling? Because she was like, ooh, lesbian haircut, we're good.
I think it was really funny seeing like what confused my grandma, because she didn't tell us that she couldn't hear any of the movie until after it ended, and we were like, we could have gotten you like a closed captioning thing because she's like hard of hearing, but she didn't tell us. So she didn't know that
whatever.
She didn't know that Lori in the future was the same person as Lori in the past. She was like, how? And she was like, I couldn't hear it. I was like, Mom, he has the same face.
But he looks the same.
You don't need to hear it to see that he has the same face. It was so funny. And then she was asking me afterwards, she was like, so Joe is gay, right? And I was like, it's so interesting that you say that, because I think so.
She's definitely gay.
Dude, we're gonna get where she's like, oh no, haha, so funny you guys made me dye my hair blue. Haha, you totally
What?
Because she thought that, like,
go on a date with a girl? What? This is so crazy.
Oh my god, I can't believe you guys made me go on a date with.
She's like talking to the publisher, and she's like, joke's on you, you didn't say she had to get married to a man. You just said married. She's a lesbian, you know?
Little Women for Glad.
Ultimate plot twist. You never specified what she had to get married to.
Oh my god.
Married to a girl.
Yeah.
Well, so that's interesting. What was your grandma's like gaydar? What set it off?
It was when she was yelling at Timothy Chalamet that she could never love him that way. She was like, oh, it's because she can't love men. And I was like, well, I mean, it could just be that she doesn't like Timothy, but
Lori that way, yeah.
Lori, sorry.
Trans,
you're good.
definitely.
He's basically Timmy.
Yeah, there were some trans vibes.
But
yeah,
no,
yeah.
Sorry. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that that's what she got from that speech, because.
Oh, definitely got the. It's very apparent.
I don't know. I almost want to like that didn't really. It's funny, like, because Margot mentioned that to me, and it's immediately like, oh, duh. But that almost like didn't dawn on me like watching the movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, Joe's like, it's not that Joe. I don't know. Maybe again, it might just be like my mindset. But like I was thinking, I was like, Joe likes, because they show before her and Lori are starting their young puppy love, I guess if you want to call it. They show that professor, and like when he says the writing's bad, I knew immediately. I was like, oh, she loves him, because he gives her the one thing no one else can, and that's criticism. And I was like, yes, like.
We read that so different.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was just like, he's just mean.
Yeah, damn, that he didn't have to say it that way.
Or it just reminded me of art school, whenever you give a crit to someone and then they don't want to hear it. And like,
well, it was like, I was like, that's not constructive criticism. You're just saying you don't like it.
But you know why she didn't like it, or why he didn't like it?
Because it wasn't constructive.
No, it was like a generic story that Mr. Dashwood wanted. It wasn't something Joe wanted to write.
No, I know, but like he didn't say that. He was just like, yeah, this is bad.
He said,
I don't like this.
He said, I don't like this. He was basically saying you can do better, and I know you can. Or at least that's what I got out of it.
But he didn't say that.
But he didn't say that.
It was.
There's ways
eyes.
to.
It was in Frederick's burning eyes.
I think you're just taken away by how hot he was, and
I think so.
Yeah.
So back to Joe being gay. Anytime.
So basically, my grandma is more woke than Hay.
Yeah. Anytime they said Joe was boyish, I was like, she's either a lesbian or a trans man. Like,
yeah,
one of the two.
in the book, right, when Meg gets engaged and Joe has this crisis about growing up, she's straight up in the book going like, "What if I marry Meg?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh
"Yo,
my
Yeah.
god.
down."
That was so funny.
Yep. I also wanted to throw out one thing. I thought it was a little funny that Laurie says while he's seeing Amy and he's going after helping Joe go after that guy. He's like, boy, I never thought I'd help Joe get a guy, and it's like, dude, you're married now. Like, I don't know. I thought it was
He was
funny that
saying
he's
that
like,
because Joe's clearly a lesbian. Hey, get it together.
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god, it
Re-
always comes back to this. on all
Read
of
the
these.
subtext.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I have zero vision
Did your
for
screening not have the part where Joe looks directly into the camera like Judi Dench in Cats and she says, "I am a lesbian and I like women."
please love lesbians. Lesbians are better than heteros.
Lesbians are not
Are
straight.
not dogs.
Yeah.
Lesbians are not dogs.
Wait, Theo.
Oh yeah,
Um,
what's up?
So about the structure of this film, right? I just wanted to quickly go back to that. Do you think you would like it more if they structured it in the way the novel is structured, where it is linear, but it is in two very distinct parts? Well, in the UK book, because they up till where Meg is engaged. Sorry, this is getting nerdy. Up till where Meg is engaged, it's called Little Women, and then they split into another book called Good Wives.
Whoa.
Oh,
Oh yeah, it's because
mean-
it was published in 2 parts, right?
Yeah,
You mean
yeah.
Big Wives?
Oh my
Can that
god.
be retitled? Can we
Bi-
change that title?
Big women,
Yeah. Are we stuck on Big Wives? Yes.
big wives. But yeah, like
My
it
wife.
does. It does the same thing, without kind of jumping back and forth, but it does juxtapose these two parts quite well. Do you think it would have been better if they'd done like da 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 Good Wife 7 years later?
So yeah, I was actually gonna say I think that I actually prefer this one. I think that this is actually like a really good decision and
Mhm.
makes it much more interesting to me at least than if it was told that way. I'm just trying to think like I think I would enjoy I mean, I think I definitely could enjoy a story that was told linearly. Actually, the only movies I watch are just Memento on repeat.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No, I definitely couldn't. Obviously, it was executed well. I think that like you bring up a good point in that, or someone brought up a good point where like, oh, right from the get go, we're told that they don't get together, so like we can just watch it without that like
Yeah.
distracting us in a similar way that like oh well they just gonna die in melancholia so we can like view the movie.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for Melancholia.
They tell you that in the first minute.
They do tell you that in the first
Many
minute.
people have not seen the first minute.
Yeah,
I almost wonder if they'll come out with a linear cut of Little Women to be like, hey, here's one to show your grandma.
Oh my god. Well, so yeah, I was just gonna say like I think that considering it was written with that in mind, I actually think it was quite well done, and I would definitely prefer this. I think that what Hay was saying with because once she cut her hair, it was very very easy for me to follow what was going on. Before I was like, oh, I understand what's going on, but it takes me a few seconds to be like, okay, like like what indicators are we seeing that like may tell me what time period they're in. So I think that like it's tough. It's like I almost wish Joe had that moment of like, hey guys, we reunited, and they're like, Joe, what happened? You went to college and now your hair is blue, and her hair is just blue the entire time. So that it would be like, oh, it's so easy, like so easy. But that's my only like gripe. Besides that, I think that it was a good decision that they did that.
No, I agree. Definitely.
I think. Do we have any other random points we want to throw out, or is that about it? Because we talked for a decent amount. on these Little Women spoilers. Big spoilers for the Little
I love
Women.
that this was a spoiler discussion. We didn't even talk about how Beth died.
Oh, yeah,
So-
that hurt. That hurt me a lot.
Oh my god,
Wait.
I almost started sobbing.
Wait,
Yeah.
so I have a really quick question.
Yeah.
This might be just me. I would agree with. It's tough. I feel like it's tricky because it's adapted from a source material that's been adapted many times. I wonder if they could have given Beth a little bit more. I know this is gonna sound really stupid. I know it's gonna sound really stupid, but like from the beginning, I was like, oh, so like she's not as important as these others.
Well,
That's what it feels
well,
like. That's what it always feels like.
I think Beth is based off of Louisa May Alcott's dead sister.
No, that's
Um,
totally fair. Yeah.
I
But-
think I think that she was more of like a story element instead of a character.
Mm.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would disagree with that. Just in
Oh,
that,
I just
like,
mean that she's there for like to like bring the sisters back together at the end, like mourning over her death, and she's there to represent like the goodness, you know.
okay.
So
I sort of get some of what you're saying, but I really like I would say, I don't know. I felt like Beth was more of a character than Meg. I thought Meg was like very much like,
Oh,
hey, I'm here to tell you that, like y'all said, the one line of, just because I have different dreams doesn't mean they're lesser. And then that
Do you
was it. So she almost felt like a plot point, not a character. Whereas
wait,
like
was
Beth, oh, go for it, Turtle.
Oh no, I was just gonna quickly say, wasn't well, this could have just been Twitter joking, but wasn't Meg's parts like cut down or something?
Mate, possibly.
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
That might have
I-
been some clowning.
I feel like I feel like Meg
can't
was
tell 'cause I have
specifically
no
to show
reference.
like a different take on marriage
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she married for love and she was like struggled with like the economic side of that, and that pretty much like juxtaposed to like
But
how Amy felt about marriage as like an
but
economic
Amy also,
resource.
but she also got married for love.
Yeah, to
Well,
a
in
rich
the
guy.
end,
Eventually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would she
Yeah.
have loved Laurie if he was poor? I don't know.
But she would have.
I don't know.
I
She
don't
would
know.
have loved. I
No,
would have
no.
loved poor
I
Lori.
don't know.
Not after Aunt March was like, "It's up to you
Yeah.
to save the family."
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
wild.
You
By
have
the way,
power
when
over
she
who
was
you
like,
love. It's not just
hey.
something that happens to you.
no, when she was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you're the only one that could right the ship of this family, this terrible family who keeps dating poor, dirty men." Well, Bob Odenkirk is in the room. She's like, "Hey,
I know she's so
stop,
shady.
stop
Yeah.
loving the poors." Oh
I-
man,
About Beth, I kind of do agree that her part is quite small, but no, I do agree with Beth.
someone say little.
She was the truest little woman, but and like she does have a part, but I think like I don't remember if this is in the book, but I remember from the older 90s version where I think it was Kirsten Dunst in her deathbed was like, I like everyone in this family has like such strong dreams and ambitions, but all I want to do is like live here with my family, but everyone keeps going away.
Whoa.
And at that point I started sobbing. But I think that would have been like, I feel like that part was mostly kind of transferred to Joe, like that emotion. But I really wish they'd kept that in because like even though that's two different characters, I think that makes Beth such a rich character.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely feel that if I had seen the other films. So it's good we have the Little Women expert here to help us out. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for spoiler talk. So if you guys want to check out other spoiler talk videos, we have ones for Parasite, The Lighthouse, JoJo, all that good stuff. Maybe even Cats at some point. But I don't know if we'll ever do that. But thank you guys for listening. It's been a fun episode. Yeah, big talk, Little Women. Thanks. Bye.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye.